All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to a live edition of Wheel Tapping. I'm sitting here with my best friend Tony in the basement of awesome, and I'm out in Denver, so we decided to kind of do this live and kind of do in person, no less. Like we've done them live, I guess. We just haven't done it like
Distance.
living. Yeah, only 4 hours on a plane, and here we are. So. Enjoying the lovely Denver skyline and just had a great week. So we thought we'd talk about a couple games we played. But this episode, we're going to dive into 1836 Junior. Yes.
The 1830 version thereof.
Yes. It's the reason we chose this is because I had never played it, and it seemed like it was a gap in my play history, and we couldn't get together online. And lo and behold, big surprise to no one, Tony has it in his collection, or the Tracks library has it. It's here, and we played it, and I got demolished.
It didn't start well for you.
No,
didn't end well for you.
It's all good though. It's all good. I made a couple key mistakes. We'll talk about that as we kind of get through everything. But why don't you tell us, Tony, what a little bit about what is 1836, who makes it, and what all the good stuff is.
Well, nobody makes it yet, but no, 1836 Junior is a David Hecht game he did in 2001. There's kind of two versions of it. There's an 1830 rules version and an 1856 rules version. I have never played the 1856 rules version.
Okay.
But I'm a huge fan of 1830 because it's so simple and elegant, right? I like to say there's only two rules in 1830. You know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a streamlined version for sure.
Sure. No, it's only 2 to 4 players. It's a very small map, very tight. And when we were talking about that, you made an interesting observation about the map's tightness that we'll talk about when we talk about the map.
Excellent.
It really resonated with me what you said there. But yeah, there's no publisher yet, but Rails on Boards.
Right. They did announce that they are going to make it, and that it currently is in development. But I haven't seen anything new on that yet. But I believe the guys will make it, and I'm kind of looking forward to what happens out of that.
I will certainly acquire one.
Yeah, and, now that I've played it, I will too. So what do you think about this as kind of like a training game? After we just played it. I know one of your famous mantras is any game is a training game.
For sure.
And I completely agree.
For sure.
It helps depict the audience, right? Mm-hmm. But what do you think about this as like, a good introductory game, school night game, kind of, where do you feel it fits in that?
Whatever. I mean, the mantra is true, right? Like any game can be a starter game, but
right.
There's a couple of things that are different about this game that may or may not be good for a first-time person or something. But
right,
know your audience when you select a first game, right?
Yeah, I think.
What do you think about this as a trainer?
I think in 2001 it was fabulous. I think it was
That's probably good.
I think it was a great choice early on. I think you and I have covered a couple games that we think serve that role. 18 Florida actually kind of being one of them.
Yeah,
because I think that,
speaking of Hecht,
right. But, I think when you think about that one, you're trying to get a board gamer into train games. That's a good one because the hotels and things kind of give them some board gamey levers and stuff. So I think it can kind of help hook them a little bit. I love 82 for a training game. But again, it can be brutal, but so can this. This can be a little brutal.
Yeah, it can certainly be brutal for sure.
But what I do think it's excellent as is that nice little 3 to 4 player count. You just want to kind of sneak a game in real quick before maybe the night's rolling or something. I think we knocked it out in under 90 minutes.
Yeah, somewhere around that mark, I think.
Yeah, and that was a full game.
Well, we called it a little bit early, but we knew what was going to happen. We were already into the diesels. The bank was about to break.
Yeah, we were one set out, but it was very clear because, Tony kind of caught me napping on my trains.
But it was also time for you to start cooking dinner. So
yeah.
We said, all right.
So one of my deals when I visit your house and I stay with you, I cook dinner. So there's that. So any of our friends who live in the EU,
Right.
I might not understand what the ingredients are, but we'll eat at the end of it. How's that?
And it'll be good.
It was very tasty. I'm not
Absolutely.
going to complain. Cool. So let's get on to the yellow phase. Now, in the yellow phase, we usually like to talk about what kind of makes this game different or unique or similar to other games. Tony, my goodness, we got a list here of all the variations. And I think you can start. I think you can take the lead on what the big MacGuffin is in this game compared to others.
What? Cover all of those?
Dude, come on. I'm going to sit here and drink water while you do it.
Just one.
Yeah, it is. It's really got one thing, right? I mean, aside from everything just being kind of scaled down and tightened up a little bit.
It's 1830 in a smaller box.
Yep.
With one difference. Well, two. It's not sell by sell. It's sell by, but
Correct.
Whatever.
Correct.
Yeah, you can only buy one train of a type per OR. So you get 1 2 train.
Right. So
unless it's the last 2 train, you get a 2 and a 3 if you want it.
Exactly. So people who've played 18 mechs will be familiar with that.
Yeah.
But unlike mechs, that's the rule throughout the entire game. So that's kind of how he solved the problem of somebody coming in and just gobbling up the diesels with the late company.
Or no, the 2 5
Or the 2 5 trains.
That's the big thing.
The 2 permanents was where I was,
But I think also like it helps you manage the capital and spread the game out a little bit. So you're not just ripping through those trains, because the train deck is a little bit smaller.
It is.
Than 1830. So it kind of sets a pace to the game. And I think the other thing it causes is, let's say you parred that company at $82 and now you got $820 in there. All you can do is buy 1 2 train. So you know what? Maybe I will buy 2 shares. Because you're not just going to buy 4 trains and give it to me, you know.
Exactly.
Whatever kind of machinations, right? Those things happen at a much slower pace.
Yeah, you're not as likely to have a company that you want to dump because
it's got cash.
Right. And with only, well, let's just tell you what, that's it. That's really what's different. Everything else is pretty much the same. The auction, if you're familiar with 30, the auction's similar.
Yeah.
The gameplay's similar. Everything else is very similar, and it should be, because there's no disguising what it is here. This is it.
For a lot of people, though, that you can only buy 1 train of a type per OR. At first, you feel like, well, that's annoying.
Right. Well, I have all this money. I need to spend it.
But like, it does like spread things out so that things develop a little more.
You focus on the map. You have money for terrain. You have money for tokens.
Yeah, there's some terrain out here.
Yeah,
not as heavy cost as 1830s terrain, but there's some terrain out here.
Yeah, definitely some. So, you know, I think we're kind of starting to get into companies. So let's slip into the green phase. And with the green phase, we talk about companies and stock today. Now, you talked about the stock market, and the big thing is that it's buy, sell, which is a little different than
sell by.
Yeah. Sell by. Thank you. Me and my terms, I get confused. It happens. I may have also had a drink today. It's possible.
We've had more than one.
Yes. It was a glorious day out here. 70 degrees almost in the middle.
Degrees.
In the middle of winter. Come on.
Sat on the deck, mused about train games, and we had a couple of bourbons.
We did. So if anything's wrong, blame them.
That's right.
Yeah. But anyway, the stock round's a little different. So you can definitely trash somebody, and you can do that because you want to be that guy, girl, whatever, or you can do it to try and manipulate turn order. Is frequently it. But like you say, I think owning other people is relatively safe in this game because there's only 6 companies.
Yeah.
And the
safer.
The cert limit is kind of low, right?
I can't just pillage so quickly.
Right. And so, it feels like it's not like geared to really dump a company on somebody, because what can you replace that share value with is generally just not very good. Yeah. So it's not usually in your best interest to do that unless you opened it with that full intention. That's all you intended to do, and just dump it. And then you've been building shares of other people all along. I could see that happen for sure. The market, your basic 1830s market.
1830.
Yep. I think that there could be some fun playing in the brown zones here. You know, when you get down there.
I don't know. Like you said, there's only 6 companies, right? So
yeah, you really got to be dedicated to it to make it happen. And I don't know. I think if you do, I don't think there's enough time to really make something like that pay off. Because you really have to open low to make that pay off. So you're not getting a lot of cash influx.
briefcase somebody low, get them into the yellow, but then is that enough money to do what you really need to do with that briefcase? Probably not.
Yeah, exactly. As I found out tonight. Yeah, not better. Not better at all. So other than that, pretty strict, pretty much the same rules. 60% to open, 60% max hold. There's nothing crazy going on. 6 companies, they are all predetermined where they open on the map. So, you know what you're getting. And 3 of them are actually come out usually in the private auction. So 3 of them are kind of from the jump. They're already starting to operate.
Yeah, 2 in particular.
Yeah.
Mike.
Well, I had the GCL.
Yeah, you kind of got greedy on that one, and it went off to a very slow start. But really, the Belge and the Nord, they're going to rock and roll from jump usually, in my experience. And then that guy you started.
Yeah.
But you want to maybe wait a little bit before, until maybe some of the yellow trains go away, because he really needs these privates to start freeing up.
Exactly.
In order for him to really have routes down there.
Yeah, and the other companies open in the north side. There's a lot of space, and when you're only laying 1 tile at a time, that can feel like an eternity to get from A to B,
even though it's so small.
It really can. It's. I told you alluded to it earlier. The thing is, it feels like it's a large map when you start, because everything feels like it takes forever. But then all of a sudden, it gets small real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we'd started recording, you were saying how down here, it was open. We got started, and we clogged it all up, and then we were able to spread north, and then it got clogged up again. And the map, it does have a different bell curve to it,
For sure. It was a lot of fun. There are a lot of blockers in the private companies that kind of caught me out a little bit. And the one thing I would point out is these yellow tiles, the OOs, the 3 OOs, they're yellow tiles at the beginning of the game. They're different than what we're used to, and perhaps in future versions that may be addressed. I'm not sure. But they only upgrade in green. And that's what you were saying about you got to wait, because there's no track to them until green.
Your little company is trapped by this OO that's also controlled by a private and this private.
Yeah.
So he's...
Yeah, I was really locked in, and I had the private that was down in this corner, and I never even went there once, because I didn't want to have to pay the $120 to get down there.
No, it's pretty pricey.
Yeah, I mean, a $70 town
it's
is
when
nice.
You get to Strasbourg, but it's pretty pricey. But yeah, the OOs are the standard 1830 OOs, So.
Right. And Amsterdam plays the role of New York City as far as the tile goes. So the 2 sides never really connect in Rotterdam and New York. It can be a little tricky.
You lay your track up there, you could make some nice...
Yeah, you can, because you can double hit it and loop in and out. And that's where we were headed before it all kind of, pardon the pun, derailed, as it were.
It
did. And what caused that derailment? Big surprise. It was trains, right? So let's kind of slip into the train phase. And, we actually had the joy of going to a local, the Arsenal, which is get to see some buffalo and stuff like that. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw bald eagles,
and buffaloes, and
that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah,
got to see a couple 120 car coal train just pushing along, pretty cool.
Yeah,
twice in fact.
Yeah.
So trains were the theme of the day, and then there's one point where we both looked at each other as we saw the pickup truck with the wheels that come down that ride the track and just humming along, and we're like, totally want to do that, totally.
Yeah, you're in the back seat with your wife. I'm in the front with my wife. We both look over there, and you're like, I want to do that, and I said, Me too, but the girls thought we were talking about something else.
Something
It
else
was like we
entirely.
were on the train path and they were train track, and they were on whatever the hell they were on. And yeah, it was pretty funny. We laughed.
Yeah, he was stolen. It looked like fun, I have to say. Ever since Lethal Weapon 3, I've always wanted to do that.
I've never seen it, so.
But
I would like to drive in one of those.
Yeah, it happens. Just like,
I don't want to do this car.
no,
That's too
no,
much work.
no, that's way too much work. I'll sit on the end and have a beer while somebody else does it, though.
There you go.
I'm good for that. So I think if we're going to say there's anything that this game really kind of starts to differentiate itself from 30 and other games specifically, it's the train market. Because like we said, we talked about the one big MacGuffin, and that is that trains, you can only buy one type per OR. So if you buy a 3-4, good on you. Great job.
Yeah.
But if 2 2s are sitting there, they're going to stay there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think that's pretty cool. The other thing that you kind of brought up was the size of the roster and how different it is from the other 30 games.
Yeah, it's just like one less 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
So
Makes a
even
little-
though you're buying them slower and it's slowing the pace of the game down and kind of regulating your looting of the companies, it's still a shorter roster. So it does move along quicker than you think.
Right. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I have 3 3s. And you're like, yeah, that's kind of it.
Because 5s and 6s are coming.
They're coming quick. I don't even think there's a poison 4. I think all the pours are poison. But no, they actually ran really well and a little longer than I expected them to. But they did a pretty good job. Typical 30 also means we don't get gray tiles. So there's no gray tiles in the game at all.
Right.
So you never have to worry about that, even though there's the gray trains with the diesels. So that's kind of a big difference too. It's like, it was Mike who was playing with us, Sweater Mike. He went reaching for the gray tile and we're like, not there.
I'll take the gray Amsterdam tile. We're like, nope.
No, you will not.
It's 1830. There's no gray.
Right. Some other restrictions, 30, like the one thing that always kind of catches me out that I always forget about is there's only, and 82 does this too, there's only 4 straight yellow cities.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's 1830, baby.
Yeah, and that's a tough one. That'll catch you out if you're not ready for it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 places to lay those 4 tiles. So
Yeah, so you're behooved to get to green fast so that you can upgrade to get them back, but you can only get there 1 train at a time. So it's a fun little dance and timing to try and get it right, for sure.
for sure, man.
Yeah, awesome. You also mentioned about the terrain cost on the map. There's some, but there's like 60s, 80s, and 40s.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as 30, would you say?
No, because those are like, excuse me, 120s and 80s. So.
Right, they're brutal.
Yeah.
But they're pretty decent, but they're enough to make you think twice, or cause you hurt after you just had to do a forced train buy and you have no cash in your company.
I had to leave $41 in my one company just in case I had to lay this tile right here in G9. I only wanted to leave 1.
Yep, but you just had to leave a little terrain money. It's not something you can forget about.
No.
So for sure. Cool.
And like 1830, the towns don't upgrade.
The doinks, the dits.
Once someone lays that,
Yep.
they're laid. There's 2 double towns on the map.
Right. We got the one up here.
Yeah. And the one up there, if you can control this private, you can regulate whether the NFL can be a briefcase or not, just like the can pack in 1830 up there.
Which I should have done, ladies and gentlemen. I opened it at 100. It was the perfect candidate to do it with, but I didn't. Tony did it with this one down here in Dortmund, for crying out
Yeah, I
loud.
briefcased the yellow guy, and they finally built me some track, but it was too late.
Right, because that happened in the first set of 3 ORs, and then he caused us some angst having to force buy some trains, and then we were trying to catch him out and connect him in, but it took us till the end of OR1. So even then, the damage was done, and we just couldn't. There was no way. You had way too much time to sit there and make money with all the shares, while our shares were all sitting in the bank pool.
Cooking dinner was a good option.
And cooking dinner looked good. So, but yeah, we kind of called it at that point. And but you know what? Pretty quick.
Yeah. No, and enjoyable. Very lovely game, actually.
Yeah. So I think with that thought, let's just slip into the gray phase.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So the gray phase is where we talk about the feelings and the fun and all that stuff. So what was your fun? Where'd you enjoy this one? Aside from the beatdown and the getting to walk away with the clubs.
Well, I enjoy small games just as much as I enjoy big games. So even though in a game like this, you miss a lot of that longer story arc and
Right.
maybe some of the other, roughness of 1830 and stuff. But like I said, I love small games just as well. So I think this is the fantastic game. I've played it several times online and in person. And it's fast and it's fun. And you get those 1830 feels.
Right.
And I'm a big fan of 1830. And you can still do some machinations and stuff like that, and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the same thing. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's great, light little 3-player game you want to throw down because you don't know what else to play. You can't decide. It's a great little. Everybody knows what they're doing, from the jump. What I enjoy about it is. The tile puzzle that is this game is pretty rich. I think that there's a lot of fun to be had in working and being super efficient with your tile lays, because this is one of the few games where I really think like almost every tile lay matters. Like I don't think there's one point where I said I'm just gonna put a yellow here because I have nothing else to do. No, I really feel like almost every lay I had mattered.
Yeah. And that relates also to, there's a couple of areas like around Antwerp and Utrecht and stuff that tokens, like it's very hard to get over here with more than one company,
Right.
So like the token battles down here and right up here can be pretty nice.
Yeah. And not to mention Lille and Brussels are both B tiles, which means... Yeah, they're great money, but they only ever have one hole, so they can cause some tightness down here and very, very much restrictive. Let's move on to the priority deal marker, and this is always a fun one that we like to do and talk about because Tony's shelf kind of inspired this little segment, this literal shelf that he just kind of has grown and almost outgrown, I might add.
Yeah, I'm about to add another one.
Yes, you are. But it's great. It just has a lot of little things that when you play a game, we use them as priority deal markers. Yeah. So the train is always classic. I toot this one all the time. It's cheap. It's on Amazon. It's a pencil sharpener.
But there's several different kinds. There's
the F4. There's
Tom Thumb. All kinds of crazy stuff.
Exactly. So that's a great choice. But then you also brought out.
Also have the Eiffel Tower because Paris is an offboard here. It is very cool. Also Amazon. But I don't really have anything Belgian or Dutch specific.
Yeah. Maybe we need to get you like a little little Delft shoe. House or a little wooden shoe.
Wooden shoe.
That would also work then when we play 26 potentially. Or...
Well, that's what we use the Eiffel Tower for.
There you go.
26.
Perfect. Paris. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is 1836 Junior. This is Wheel Tapping. Thanks so much for watching. Tony, thanks for hosting. I've had a great week. This has been amazing.
It's been fantastic, man.
And we're excited. And, Trax is coming up. At the time you're hearing this, there may be 1 or 2 tickets left. It's pretty close.
Yeah, we're like around 95 right now out of 100.
So if you happen to know what the largest convention for 18xx only games is, we're kind of curious because we kind of have a little running bet where
it might be Trax now.
At 100 attendees plus several VIPs, I think it might be. Yeah.
When I went to Chattanooga in January 2017, there were 96 of us, I think was the count. So, yeah, we're up there.
That's awesome. I'm super stoked. And now that I'm kind of like chomping at the bit, ready to go, I think we'll start looking into seeing if Tracks East is possible this fall. If maybe even just a small invite only thing to get it kicked off. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, this is the first time that Tracks is not invite only kind of a thing, right?
Right.
Because I'm so looking forward to it.
You're going to meet a lot of new people.
I might know like 25 of these 100 people, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So thanks everybody for, if you bought tickets, if you support the show, whatever you do to kind of enjoy this hobby, we appreciate it because it's a great time to be a train gamer.
Yes, it is.
It's a great time.
I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon either.
I don't think so. I think you got Four Locos pushing this hard, and it's going to be a great one. All right. Sure. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. This Week in Each Week is brought to you by Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience at GameToppersLLC.com. Chris and Tony would love to thank all the patrons who contribute to make this show possible. Your support goes a long way to maintaining and upgrading the show on a weekly, monthly, yearly, or whatever basis. We'll see you next time.